May I have the names of our participants, please?
Michael McFarland, Attorney Gary Lytton. I actually get switch sides. Well, maybe if I can stay here, Your Honor.
You're
Fine.
Ms. Tasha Thomas, counsel for the department.
Christopher Farian for the department.
Michael Brooks, I represent mother in this matter. Her name is Carol Rembert. Ms. Rembert, would you identify yourself?
Yes, Carol.
Okay, Mr. Rumbert's here too. Welcome.
And Carol Lambert.
Thank you. Very good. It looks like we're also scheduled for a permanency planning hearing, just so everyone's aware. You're
I'm here.
whenever you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. Maybe when we're off the record, the clerk can get the phone number for father, as his number has changed. It took me a little while to get that. Appreciate Mr. Farian giving me that information. The two boys are doing very well up there. I've been informed by father that they are conforming to his rules, his guidelines. They will be enrolled in school up there for the fall, and I would support that. I would ask father to have them schedule a telephone conference with me so I can speak to them in person. Daughter's about to be 18 in a couple days, Your Honor. It's a little touchy situation in that father would like her to remain with him, to obey the house rules, not to be down here visiting her boyfriend who is alleged to have he's been in domestic abuse with, best of my knowledge. There's also a delicate balance. He doesn't want to alienate her, so she completely removes herself from his life, Your Honor. As most 17-year-olds, that's a very delicate balance. She could be getting more help as far as with a newborn child, seeking out benefits, things of that nature, which she doesn't appear to be doing. Again, it's problem with father is, can you force her to do that when she's going to be an adult here in just a couple days? I suppose if she doesn't, there may be a case opened against her. That needs to be, and that would be the recourse, Your Honor. But at this point, I support status quo with the minor children being placed with father. And I suppose when the minor daughter reaches 18 in a couple days, that if she's not willing to avail herself of services, that she'll no longer be on this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Witnesses today, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, 1 moment. Judge. Your Honor, I would call Mr. Farian to provide his report. And the children reside, is it Wayne County?
I believe it's Oakland County. I actually have a courtesy worker out of the Oakland County office that has been seeing the
Okay. And any indications from that worker, are those included in your report as well?
They are.
Are there any updates or modifications that you need to make to your court report?
No, just that Ms. Rember is currently at Salvation Army Harbor Light. She left, I believe it was last Thursday, to go up there for a rehab. Inpatient, and I believe it's 30 days.
And at this time, the children are, they remain with Mr. Rember, is that correct?
The two boys are with Mr. Rember currently. I'm free to use names, Your Honor.
Well, we are on YouTube because we've got virtual participants, so
Okay.
we want to.
Yes, LR. She currently is down here. She's in Blissfield. I did see her last Thursday with her and her baby that was born on May 31st. She was supposed to get in contact with me on Friday. I haven't heard from her, and I haven't had the opportunity to try to track her down today to get her some of the items that she needed. Originally, when the baby was born, though, Oakland County provided the items needed for the baby. And initially, after leaving the hospital, she was down here for several days and then had been up with her father. I'm sorry, what was the rest of your question?
Just whether the children remain with Mr. Rember.
Yes, they do.
And at this time, I don't know that I'm very clear on it about parenting time with Miss Rembert.
So originally, prior to her incarceration, it was pretty liberal. She was going up to see the kids up in Oakland County. That was pretty much for May. She was incarcerated at the end of May, and then again at the beginning of June was in the Lenawee County Jail from about, I believe it was June 5th, up until the previous Thursday. So the 13th, I believe that was. Is that right? Maybe not. No. 20th. Yes. Sorry.
And was that supervised by Mr. Rembert?
I believe it was. I don't know that it was always supervised by Mr. Rembert. No.
Was unsupervised parenting time permitted?
I'm not sure. Again, it was kind of very liberal because of the distance in that nature. I know they weren't down here, so I'm not sure if their grandfather had been watching them. I found out about it after the fact that she had been up there to visit.
Do you know if there's any continuing contact with her while she's in treatment?
I don't know about the treatment aspect of it. I know prior to that, she was regular phone calls from the jail with the children, all of the children. And
generally, how would you describe her compliance with and benefit from her case service plan during this review?
So after our last hearing, I spoke to her a couple of times in May. She wasn't interested in being involved in the case service plan. At the end of May, she wasn't again incarcerated for a few days. After her granddaughter was born on the 31st of May, I made contact with her on the 1st of June again after she had been released from jail. She had indicated to me that she would like to be re-engaged in a case service plan. We were scheduled to meet at 2 p.m. on the 5th, of June. However, she was incarcerated that day. So there was no case service plan to be done. She was incarcerated. She had multiple hearings. Had she not been able to enter rehab, she would have been scheduled to be in the Lenawee County Jail until October 29th.
You are currently in communication with her, though, correct?
Yes, I am.
And are you able to discuss her case service plan and any services she may be able to participate in or engage in while in treatment?
That's something we can explore, yes. Up until then, again, like I said, she was incarcerated there, and we didn't really know where she was going to be. She was either going to be incarcerated until the 29th of October or potentially get into inpatient rehab.
And at this time, the goal for the children is reunification, correct?
They are with their father now, so I would think that some sort of reunification with their mother would be appropriate if she's completed all her services.
The placement with father is still the least restrictive to ensure their safety?
Correct, because we were not able to identify really any other relatives when we did our relative search and that nature, and there's not many people down here and either that can support them at this time.
And there's an indication about a custody order. Would a updated custody order, I guess, relieve the need for this court to have jurisdiction?
Yes, it would.
This case?
Yes, it would, if he was able to gain custody. Yes.
There's just one, I'm reviewing your court report. There's just one thing I want to clarify. The date on your court report that was submitted for today is signed for April 19th. Is that a clerical error?
That is a 100% a clerical error, yes.
Just want to make sure. And at this time, are you just continuing to ask for another 90-day review?
I suppose, yes. I mean, I'm not sure how, I guess here's the two issues that remain. Number one, Ms. Rembert successfully completing her treatment and not being incarcerated until October. I think that's number one important thing to happen. Because I did witness the hearing by Judge Morgan, and he did say that if she failed or she left early or that would be imposed and she would remain in custody until October 29th. But also The other issue again is the custody. They haven't made that established. I've made arrangements for the father to be able to do that. In terms of getting down there and paying some money on his, to be able to file the paperwork. So that has not been done to date.
Is there anything else you'd like to bring to the court's attention?
No, not at this time. There was another medical issue with the son. They've made some changes to his medications, the way it's distributed to him, rather liquid as opposed to pill form. He did admit that he wasn't taking his medication regularly, and so dad has made some changes to the way that that's being distributed to him daily. So.
I have no further questions, Your Honor, and move to admit the court report.
No objection.
No objection.
Hold the voice.
I believe 16 and 14.
Okay. Now, if my client successfully completes her rehabilitation at Harbor Light, does she have to go back to jail or will she be released as you understand it?
As I understand it, she would be released. And continue on with probation.
Right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Harbor Light, do they permit mother to have virtual or actual visits with the minor children?
I am not aware of that yet. I have not spoken to those individuals. Again, she went late Thursday. I spoke to her late Friday. So I'm not sure who the contact person is.
Well, if they allow virtual visits, do you support that?
Yes.
If they allow actual visits, what's your position?
I do not see where that would be an issue.
We need transportation arranged because what county is Harbor Light in?
I'm not sure.
Well, probably not in the same city, at least.
Right. I believe there's a couple different locations, so I would have to find which specific location it is.
Would transportation be arranged through your agency if there were in-person visits?
I would have to get into contact with Oakland County since that's where they are. And yes, I think that we could probably arrange something. However, I'm not sure that the father is not able to provide his own transportation as well.
He's not able to drive, correct?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So you think he can make
Right.
arrangements?
Correct, yes.
Okay, fair enough. He indicates that the child that has the medical issues, he's been able to get the child to all the medical issues. Would you agree with that? Medical appointments, would you agree?
Yes, so I did get the records on those late on Friday, and was not able to get them squared away. There's hundreds and hundreds of pages. I was able to go through them, and it appears that yes, the medical issues are being addressed. There were no glaring concerns reported by any of the physicians at U of M Children's Hospital.
Fair enough. Well, about 90 days between cases, right? Between the last time we've been here in court.
Correct, yes.
Well, when did you approach father with getting custody on this?
We've discussed that since immediately after at the end of April.
So what's the holdup?
Mr. Rembert needs to pay some money on his back child support in order to get them to allow him to file. That's the way I understood it, according to Michelle Stevenson downstairs. Right?
Okay, so you're saying they won't allow him to do any filing until he makes some arrangements for?
Correct, yes.
Is he working, father?
He indicates he is working, yes.
Are they garnishing his wages for child support?
I do not know the answer to that. I believe no. So,
You know why not?
that's not in my realm of necessarily knowing why or why not that would happen. I would assume that my experience with the child, they would have to report that he's functionally working and where he's working and to have wages garnished.
Well, it might be in your realm for us to get this case closed, because how long is it gonna drag? Well, let me rephrase this. Without father getting custody, making some arrangements, and it's been 90 days, how is this case ever gonna be closed?
I don't know the answer to that.
Fair enough. The child who just had, the girl who just gave birth and not using names, you are a mandatory reporter, correct?
Correct.
You see no need to file a mandatory report on her, correct?
At this time, I've seen both her and the child. Child looks happy, healthy, and cared for.
She turns 18 in a couple days. What are your plans for her when she turns 18?
At that time, she would be released from our case.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's what I'm requesting.
Well, what type of post-birth care is she following up with the child?
Yes, she's attended. I've asked for the records for the pediatrician to verify that she's been attending. As far as I know, she has been attending those appointments.
So you've received those records and have verified it?
I have not. I've sent and requested the records from the doctor, the pediatrician.
So you don't know, really?
No, I guess to answer it that way, I've been told that yes, they were attending. So
By the mother?
by the mother and the grandfather and a third party.
Okay.
That's not involved in this case.
You're aware what's the status of the father of her child as far as the domestic violence case against this child?
So it is my understanding, in speaking to his probation officer, that there had originally been a no contact order that was dropped. Okay. So the last time we were in court, there was not a no contact order. Apparently it was picked back up in mid-June. I did not know this until I spoke to the probation officer at the end of, I guess it would have been earlier this month. Okay. So I read to find the baby's father. Okay. We've contacted him. I've been to his addresses. I've not found LR at either of those addresses. They have both indicated that she does not live there. I've been to his home address that is on his probation. They've never found her there, and to their knowledge, she does not live there. She's staying with a friend out in Blissfield at this time. I'm trying to go out there to visit her. Well, again, we were supposed to meet on Friday to go so I could make arrangements to see her, or she was supposed to contact me. She hasn't, so I'm going to have to go pound the pavement for that, so to speak. But anyway, Dad also indicated to his probation officer last week, who contacted me, which is Elizabeth Westgate downstairs, indicated that he has no contact with her. So I have not seen or had anybody say that they have directly seen those two together.
I don't suppose you would think, I mean, wouldn't believe their father's going to be violating his probation by saying, yes, I've had contact with this individual, correct?
I don't know the individual very well. So.
Fair enough. And my presumption is that I know you have this minor child's phone number, just gave birth, that you attempted to reach out to her Friday when the appointment was not kept. Were you able to reach her?
Well, I was not able to reach her. She doesn't always answer her phone. And when I had met with her on Thursday and saw her Thursday last week, she had indicated that her phone is shut off, so she has to be in Wi-Fi range.
Fair enough. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you for your testimony. May return to your seat. Anyone else you'd like us to hear from?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks?
Ms. Rembert, is there anything you want the court to know?
Yes. Can I?
All right. What would you like the court to know, ma'am?
I've been, since I was incarcerated, there's been a lot going on with the boys, well, with all three of them. I just wanted to put on record that my son, DR, I noticed before I went to jail that they also noticed he was developing a rash. This had been going on for a couple of weeks. And for those couple of weeks, I encouraged Dad to contact the doctor and, make the appropriate calls because I knew De Niro was going into a flare-up. However, it wasn't until my threats of calling CPS that he actually took him to the ER where he was admitted for over a week. This was almost a month later, and it was very upsetting because now seeing De Niro is very upsetting. He's lost he's lost a lot of weight. And also De Niro is currently staying at Grandpa's house. Orlando was staying with his dad in Wayne County. I just spoke with De Niro this morning. I spoke with him last night. Last night he's given himself his shots. He's just, giving himself his medicine, which I encourage him. However, I asked him this morning, is Grandpa at least making sure that you're giving you're doing it right, doing the shots the right way? And is Grandpa at least making sure that you're actually taking the medicine? Because I know my son, and I know he likes to cheat his medicine. It's really upsetting that De Niro has to be there by himself most days. They are not, Dad does not live there. Once again, as I have stated before, LR was brought to Adrian from Dad. So I don't want to I just want this all on record. It seems like it's a nice situation. However, there's issues that need to be addressed if my kids are going to end up in full custody of him. They need to be together, and they're not. They're all split up. So I don't understand where the reasoning is. The reasoning is I'm not understanding how this is all happening. Layla's here, Orlando's there, and De Niro's there. And
What would you think is a better solution?
at this point, I honestly, I don't know. I'm doing what I have to do. I am going to finish my rehab here. I am doing what I have to do. And I have explained to the kids, I may be here longer than 30 days because there's, housing issues for myself. And I have to make sure that I am established for me before I can be established for my kids. I've already explained this to them. I don't know. At this point, he needs to figure something out, just like I did, and I failed. And so I'm going to try to get myself together, but at the same time, the kids are still not stable. So as far as what he can do to make it a better environment, I have no idea. Maybe be with all his kids. And that's all. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Em.
Any questions? No, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate that you're in rehab. This is Mr. McFarland. Do they allow virtual visits with children at your rehab facility?
Yes, we get visits on Friday, I believe, and it is for 1 hour. They also allow in-person visits as well.
You jumped to my next question. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did I understand you correctly that you may not have housing left for you here in Adrian? You said you had to reestablish housing. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't have a home to go to right now. I mean, I could go right back to where I came from, but that wasn't working for me. So I want to, I may go to a sober living housing out here in Monroe County where I can get help getting established back into society. There's funding. I'm going to apply for Section 8. So there's a few things that I can do to get on my own feet, and I don't have to go right back into the same situation that I'm trying to get away from.
I appreciate that. No further questions.
Any redirect?
No,
Anyone else you'd like us to hear from?
no, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
Milton Remberg, please.
Okay. Deputy Ames, Mr. Milton Rember is available to us too.
Milton, first of all, we're not going to use first names of children because we're on YouTube, okay?
I understand.
Okay, you've heard what mother said. Are the two boys living together or are they living separately?
They actually live together, but what actually goes on, what she don't know is that I talked to CPS about our living arrangement. My father, they stays at my father's house. I have a son with another woman somewhere else. So we all spend time together. I work, so I have a big support system with people that helps me out. De Niro is never alone. De Niro's with my father 24. If he's at my father's house, he's either playing the game. My father gets up and cooks some breakfast, and he's taken care of. Like when I'm at work just a couple of days ago, De Niro needed his blood drawn from the hospital. I arranged for somebody to go pick him up, take him to go get his blood drawn from the hospital. So sometimes, even though De Niro may be at my father's house without me, I make sure De Niro is well taken care of.
Do the boys spend the nights together?
Sometimes, yes.
Well, if there's sometimes no.
De Niro, how long was your brother here just a couple of days ago?
No, just from you, sir.
How many days did your brother stay here?
Sir.
I ain't using that. Oh yeah, name. I'm sorry, I used the name.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just asking from what you remember. Is there a reason why they don't spend the nights together sometimes? Maybe we could go that route.
Sometimes De Niro likes to be by himself. So I give him the privacy of being by himself. He is an older kid. Orlando is only 13 years old. I have other kids around my girlfriend's house that he plays with all day. De Niro don't really like to play around like that, so he tends to be by himself.
You heard mother testify that you brought your daughter down here to 8. You tell us.
I haven't been to Adrian in a while. My daughter found her own ride back. The last time I've been to Adrian it's been close to a month.
You heard what I said about your daughter's situation. Would that be fairly accurate from what you and I discussed?
Yeah, I feel that she could actually get more help than what she's doing. I feel that she shouldn't be around her baby daddy, especially if he's beating on her.
Do you have any belief that she's visiting with him despite the no contact bond?
Look, I can't lie. Yeah, I know she done seen him.
And how do you know that, sir?
People come back and tell me a lot of stuff.
Well, that's fine. Okay. Do you think that we should just close the case on her when she reaches 18? Or do you think that well, let me rephrase that. Do you think if we kept the case open that she would actually follow the court's direction or not?
I think I would put it to you like this. To me, she needs all the help she could get.
Okay, thank you. We heard that mom is able to have virtual and visits.
I have no problem with them visiting their mama. I never tried to keep them away from her. Not one time.
So. Well, the last important question that I have on my mind is that I take it you do want to have custody of the minor boys, correct?
If it betters their life, yes.
Well, we've been going 90 days here and we don't have anything filed because of your bad child support. So are you going to report to the front of the court so they can start garnishing your money so you can file for custody, or what's going to happen?
Yes, Chris made some arrangement for me. It's just that I haven't got paid yet to start following up with them arrangements. But them arrangements will be followed up by this Friday.
Thank you. Okay. And you're going to be in touch then with your caseworker to see that you're able to file for custody. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yes, 100%.
His mother's statements about your son D, medical issues, and you not addressing those, are those accurate or not?
I could say some of the stuff she said was accurate. She did notice the rash on his face, but if anybody wanted to check around that time, I was calling up the UOD because that's around the time that the kids had came to me around that time. So I wasn't really too familiar with the rashes on his face, but I was in contact with the doctors for about 3 days straight, trying to see if I should bring them in. Now, it wasn't her threats that made me bring them in. It was the doctors, because I kept on calling up there and they was calling me back. And they was like, if you're worried enough like that, bring them in. So I took them in.
Thank you for that clarification.
That's the 100% accuracy of that story. No, she did notice the rash on his face. I would not deny that. Cause she said it to me. But at the same time, I was noticing De Niro wasn't getting up and having the energy that he usually have. Like right now, De Niro has a lot of energy and he eats a lot right now.
And you've set up a method to monitor that he's getting his medication. Is that correct?
Correct.
And lastly, are you working full-time?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Well, I'm sorry, I work for myself, and that's part of the reason why child support don't garnish my checks. I work on houses on my own. I have a home improvement business.
So it sounds like you need to make independent payment arrangements with the court to receive a certain amount each week, correct?
Correct.
And you can do that?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Anyone else have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Comments?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, there still is a substantial risk of harm to the children being returned to Ms. Rembert as she is in treatment, which is a positive thing, but then also needs to address the issue of housing. The children are with a legal parent, and although the overnight arrangements may not be ideal to some people, he has a right to instruct that as he would like. There has been courtesy workers from Oakland County that have ensured the safety of the children. The last order reflects that mom's supposed to have supervised parenting time. I'm not sure what has happened with that, but it seems, given the age of the children, the relationship, I believe that the discretion for either would be appropriate at this time, and I would leave it to Mr. McFarland to make a further argument on that point. But we would continue to ask for that 90-day review. And I think it would be appropriate for us to also look into how, if any of the orders from our case can make it into the custody case to sort of resolve that custody matter, because it seems that that would allow us to release jurisdiction from this case if that were resolved, especially given how old the children are. But with that, I would just ask for another 90-day review.
Mr. Brooks?
I agree.
Well, as far as mother, I am very grateful for her children to know that she's in treatment. Sounds as though the court didn't give her really an option. It was either jail or treatment, but she has learned, it sounds like, and that she's planning about what she needs to do to prevent going back to her old ways, and for follow-up housing and follow-up occupation. So I wish her the very best, and I appreciate her input. Father, I think he's doing very well under the circumstances. My only critique would be, it's been 90 days and he really hasn't made voluntary payments to the Framville court. They will always take money. They are not going to say we will refuse payments. And if their payments were coming in on a regular basis the last 90 days, he may have been able to file this already. So I am anticipating, as he indicated today, that he is going to be making regular payments, in touch with his caseworker, so he can file a motion for custody. He's also going to arrange for the boys, and we'll get his phone number off record, to meet with me via telephone or Zoom, so I can meet with them personally that way. As far as the daughter, there's been no mandatory reports. You have some concerns that she may be meeting with an alleged abuser, the father of her child. I don't think this court can really prevent it, unfortunately, Your Honor. She's 18 in a couple days. I think when she turns 18, this case should be closed, and if the need arises, there'll be any case filed in that case. I hope it doesn't arise to that stage. I hope she avails herself for everything available, but I don't think this court's really gonna be able to force her to do that. That's my recommendation.
Court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review and permanency planning hearing. The children are doing well, reunified with their father. I would ask, maybe Mr. McFarland, if you can reach out to the public defender's office to find out that if an attorney could be appointed to Mr. Rembert for purposes of asking for that, asking for help in filing that petition for change of custody. I know on occasion that has been something that has been extended to some parents. In my experience, child custody is not tied to child support. So a petition should be filed immediately for a change of custody, regardless of the status of the child support. And obviously that would help us resolve these matters that are currently pending. We'll have another review hearing. The children will remain placed with their father. It is the safest and least restrictive circumstance given the current situation Ms. Rembert finds herself in. She's clearly committed to a long-term rehabilitation program, which is great. That's in her best interest and also serves the interest of the children, but makes her unavailable to the children at this time, coupled with the remainder of the risks that remained outstanding at the time that became imperative for Ms. Rembert. So the children cannot be returned to her at this time. I'm going to go ahead and release the oldest child at this time. She is nearly 18. She's clearly not cooperating with the department, unless you want me to give you some time to try to convince her.
I don't, I would still do that anyway, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she's going to be 18 here before our next review, and I have no jurisdiction over her. If she chooses to embark voluntarily, then I'm happy to review any documents and sign anything necessary for her to take advantage of those services, but I'm not going to ask Mr. Farian to continue to try to chase her around. Frankly, she's made some very adult decisions and continues to make those decisions on her own. And after the age of 18, I have no jurisdiction anyway. So she'll be released today. Thank you for your efforts towards reunification, Mr. Farian. And Mr. McFarland, we'll look forward to you filing an affidavit indicating you've been able to meet with the children. And unless there's any questions, we'll be back on October 24th at 10 a.m. for our next review.